guys. Yes, it's me again. Um, I am still recouping from my surgery, and so it makes sense that if I am all dressed and that sort of thing, to make videos. Um, I I wanted to just share a little bit about me. Um, it's very, very easy. Just, I do my posts on my Facebook, and I want to make sure that people understand and know me and know how just real I am. I'm just, I'm sweet and I'm genuine and I'm an open book, but I want to give just a little history, and so you can kind of see why I do what I do, kind of thing. Um, so I grew up like seriously like dirt poor. Poor, poor, poor. We were a family of 7. We had food stamps, the whole bit. Like, it was rough. And I was that crazy, crazy kid. I always joke that I was never a kid. I was only like an adult, but in a little body. I was seriously like into business stuff when I was like 7 years old. I had a clipboard in my hand, and I would go around charging like my mom and dad like 5 cents to do the cat litter and like all this stuff, because I was bound and determined to buy nice things for myself and save money. Like, I was crazy. 7. My siblings would joke that one day I would be like this huge business like owner kind of person, because I was so into that stuff. And now look at me. And so fast forward, and I worked a gazillion jobs. Like, I was always working. My senior year of high school, I cleaned 4 different teacher houses. I was a bookkeeper for a gentleman, and I worked at a restaurant. So I had 6 jobs. Like, it was crazy, because I had my own apartment already. It's a long story. We grew up in the middle of nowhere. So not only was it a small town of 3,000, we were on the outskirts of that town. To say the least, it was very, very difficult, because we lived in these metal trailers, like, connected. So there was the main one and then one on the side. And let's just say winter was horrible. I remember, I'm not kidding you either, I had like this weird like propane heater, and I caught my sleeping bag on fire. Like, it was so cold, so you were trying to get close to it. It was rough. There was no electricity, no running water. We couldn't do our laundry, have showers. Like, it was awful. If we wanted to get clean, we had to heat these giant like pots on the wood stove for hours to heat water for our bath. It was horrible, you guys. And there was 5 kids. Like, can you even imagine? And so eventually, when I got my own like car, I would just drive to my friend's houses like all the time. Thank goodness I had great friends. But that just kind of gives you a glimpse of like how crazy ambitious I was just from the start. I suffered physical abuse, sexual abuse, like all sorts of things, you guys. It was rough. When I graduated high school, I had one thing on my mind, and that was that I needed to get the freak out of there and make something of myself. I actually missed high school to go to a interview for my x-ray school, because in my mind I thought I needed to do something super fast that made a lot of money, and then from there I'll do whatever. Like, I'll just get through the school, make money, and then I'll decide, kind of thing. While I was waiting to get into my x-ray school, because there was an 8-month wait, I actually got pregnant with my firstborn. So I was 19 pregnant. Yeah, it was crazy. I started my x-ray school 4.5 months pregnant. Still did it. It was insane. Absolutely insane. The x-ray stuff was supposed to be a 4-year thing, and they shove it into 2 years. And so it's just crazy. And then the externship is a full-time job without pay. I had Kiana my Christmas break, and I literally only had like 2 weeks off, and then I had to go back to school. Thank goodness for Grandma. I love Grandma. She pretty much raised my daughter for like 3 years. hello mommy guilt. Like, it was awful, you guys, awful. But you do what you got to do, right? We lived off the state. We were on every single state program there was for electricity, for food, medical, like, you name it, we were on it. When we were on the list for like Section 8 and all that. It was pretty bad. Near the end, it got to the point where we were literally living off credit cards. I remember holding like 3 credit cards in my hand, and I needed to pay my friend, because we carpooled for X-ray school. I needed to pay her like gas money, and I'm not kidding you. I had like $2 on one, a couple bucks on another, and a couple bucks on another one, and I had to use all 3 because that's how broke we were. It was just really, really bad. So I get the struggle, that is for sure. I graduated my X-ray school with a 4.0. Like, I kicked some serious butt through all of that. Near the end, 2 months before I graduated, I was actually working 16-hour shifts, like 5 days a week kind of thing. It was insane because half of it was my X-ray externship, and the other half was that I had actually gotten hired. And it was nuts. Then I graduated, and in my opinion, like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I gotta make as much money as possible, as fast as I can, take all the call I can, because we need to pay off all the debts that we had accrued with my X-ray school, and I was just tired of being broke. And I literally didn't see my family. Like, I did not see them. I took like 28 days of call a month on top of already working full-time. Like, it was insane. I jumped the ranks quick. I became a student teacher and a lead tech within, I want it was like 6 months of graduating, which is crazy. Like, that's pretty much unheard of. And then once I hit like a year, I cross-trained in the cath lab, the cardiac cath lab. So if you were to get a heart attack, you go to that department to go save your life. I would do that 1 day a week and also take their call. So here I am doing a gazillion things, wearing a whole bunch of hats, just because that's my personality. But I had realized that I was missing out on a lot. Like, I never saw my daughter. I didn't ever see, it was my boyfriend then, not my husband, but never saw him. And it just sucked. I missed out on everything. Then I was offered a supervisor position at the hospital that I'm at now, where I work 2 days a week, which is great. And then 5 days off. And I took that, and then I actually went back to school and got a second degree, and kicked butt again. It was like 3.9 GPA or something. And my goal was to do what my boss does, but by the end of getting my degree, I had realized I just don't want to do that, because he lived at work, and I couldn't go back. I couldn't do it again. And so here's this motivational, passionate person, and all of a sudden I felt like I hit this huge, like, roadblock. Like, what am I doing with my life? I never thought past getting through X-ray school and making, the money and paying off the stuff. And then what? Like, I had no idea. At that same time, right after graduating with the second degree, something pretty major had happened in our house. And I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want to. But I sunk into this really, really nasty depression. It consumed my life. I gained a bunch of weight. I mean, because that's kind of how depression works, right? You just let everything go. You're just done. And it was, you guys, it was so bad. Unless you've suffered from depression, you just don't get it. I always, when I think of it, I feel like you're like in this giant hole and you can barely see up and there's no way to get out. Like, that's the feeling. It's like you feel like it's impossible. You guys, it was really, really bad. I knew that I needed to see a doctor, but my fear was going. I knew that the medications were nasty, the side effects even worse. I was trying to hide it. I don't know how well I did, and it resulted in a near divorce with my husband. Like, it was really, really, really bad. and it was just this nasty hole that was unforgiving. Finally, like, we moved into a better place that was more bright and open and beautiful, and things were starting to get a little bit better. And then I got pregnant with my third baby, and my mom passed away. When I found out I was pregnant with baby Cade, about a week later, we found out with my mom's diagnosis. They made it seem like it wasn't a big deal, that it was just a couple little spots, a little chemo, she's good to go. And we had no idea that it was already in her lymph nodes or anything like that. Like, it was awful. So fast forward, we thought she was just fine. So that was in July when we found out. In October, she came to stay with me for a couple days. She looked fine. She looked a little underweight, but fine. A month later for Thanksgiving, I took one look at her, and my stomach shrank. I felt like I got punched in my stomach. She was like yellow gray, bones, and I instantly knew that something really, really bad has hit. She couldn't really eat. She kept holding her stomach. She's like, I know something's wrong. And I knew. I work in the field. I know. And I wanted her to go to the hospital just right then and there. I mean, and at this time, oh my gosh, I was so huge and pregnant. She refused to go. She didn't want to ruin Thanksgiving. And so that next morning, I went back home, because this was like back in Port Angeles, about a couple hours away from me. Came back home here, and the next morning I woke her up to make her go to the doctor. And they didn't know what was up right away. They said she had ascites fluid. I don't know if you guys know what that is. So there gets fluid in your like belly, because she looked kind of pregnant. And no big deal. They would like just leave it, kind of thing. The doctor was stupid. And I like yelled at my parents on the phone. I said, no, it doesn't just absorb. Like, you need to go get that taken care of. And sure enough, they went to the doctor a couple days later, and he's like, oh my gosh, why are you home, kind of thing. She got put back in the hospital, and she didn't ever leave. She was deteriorating big time. She ended up coming over. I stole her and brought her over to the hospital over here. And by then, they said it was too late. The cancer had spread all over in her abdominal cavity, encasing all of her organs. It was awful, you guys. At this point, I'm like 8.5 months pregnant. We had her for a few more weeks, and then she had passed in January. So I pretty much, she passed away. A month later, I had baby Cade. And yes, it was a good distraction because of a new baby, right? But I don't want to cry. I miss my mom. When you lose somebody unexpected, or even unexpected, right? Like when you expect it, that's so close to you, and that you didn't, you just weren't prepared for it. I honestly thought she would live until she was like 70 or something. It gives you a new grasp at life, it's a hard check in the mirror, quite frankly. Like, what the freak am I doing with my life? That's all I could think of. Like, I felt like the brick was right there, and I needed to make a choice and change something. How do I maximize my life? Because we don't know what tomorrow brings, right? Like, we don't know. And that is how I felt at that time, that I was in the biggest rut of my life, that I felt like I needed some sort of change. We were so broke. Like, we had so much debt, and it wears on you, like, every day. Like, we had just made too many bad choices over the years. And just, not budgeting right. And, once you sink into it, it's so easy to just, continue it, just about. So it's just this huge flux of things going on. me and my husband were still, working on things, and I remember talking to my sister, and I said, man, Tara, I don't know, like, should I start like a blog or something, like something where I take care of myself. Like, I have the personality where I want to take care of everybody else, and I do really good at it, but then it's really, really, really difficult for me to take care of myself. My mom, I'm a wife, and, like, I put myself on the back burner, and it's so easy to do, and I am great at it, but that's not a good thing. And it was one of those things, like, I can't keep treating my body like trash. I think of my mom, like, what if she would have actually taken care of herself? And I did not want my kids to go through what I had just gone through. Like, to lose your mom it's the worst feeling in the world. And so here I am talking to my sister about a blog or something where I had to stay accountable for my actions, kind of thing. At that time is when my friend mentioned the skinny wrap. So at that same time, I was a few months postpartum with baby Cade. I lost all the baby weight, but things did not look great. I was supposed to be in a wedding in a few months, and I was in a rut because my body is stubborn. Like, I found out that I have hypothyroidism, so my thyroid is shot, and I have something with some other things, but pretty much, like, I've been there, done that, tried that, kind of thing, and hardly anything works for me. I have to pretty much eat like a bird and work out 5 million hours a day. And so my friend talks about this skinny wrap, and I will be honest, you guys, like, my first reaction with her was, okay, I want to be supportive, but I'm really not interested. Been there. I've made wraps at home. Like, they're temporary, they're water weight or something, and it's just, they're messy, and it's just, I had no desire to even go there. But I have to give her props. Like, she was really, really persistent. And finally she's like, okay, you need to follow this chick on Facebook. She looks amazing. She's a total rock star. Just follow her. So that's what I did. Jessica Pearson is her name. And I was that quiet, that's just how I am, that quiet lurker, total Facebook stalker, just checking around like, And she, you guys, like, her results are psycho. Like, she used 6 wraps, looked amazing, decided, oh, I don't want to lose this. So then she changed her lifestyle, like what she ate and all that, dropped a total of 50 pounds. Like, she is a hot mama. And I was like, man, I want that for me. Like, that is what I'm looking for. This is my new purpose. Like, this is what I need to do. So then I had it in my mind, okay, maybe I should just, like, make the wraps at home. Like, they give all the ingredients, right? So I went, first off, I did research on the ingredients themselves, just to make sure, like, she wasn't, like, fake kind of thing. So I Googled all the ingredients. And that was, like, my big aha moment, because when you Google the ingredients, you understand, like, what each one does. You're like, okay, it can't not work because of what's in it. And so then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make them. So I go on my Amazon Prime account and I add in each ingredient to my cart, and the total was like $324, like a crazy amount of money, right? And all I could picture was, like, being in the kitchen with a bunch of muddy bowls around me, and then, like, I'm gonna burn my skin because I put too much of something in there, and then my husband being beyond pissed off, like, with me doing it. So then I'm like, oh shoot, okay, well then I need to buy these skinny wraps, these guys. And there was different things that I needed to consider. I could either be a customer or a distributor. And then to be a customer, it was either $59 or $99, depending on, like, doing a challenge or not. But then I'm like, well, it's $99 as a retail customer, but yet it's $99 to be a distributor. Yet the kit as a distributor also has a box of wraps plus a bunch of business stuff. So it's the exact same price. Like, why wouldn't I just be a distributor? I knew that they sold other things other than the wraps, like vitamins and all that. And we were already buying those on a monthly basis. So I'm like, well, it makes just sense maybe just to order it under my account kind of thing. At that time, I had no desire to really sell this stuff. It was on the back of my mind that it would be a cool bonus, but I never thought I would sell anything. No way. But it was a great little, like, extra motivation, right? Because remember that whole I wanted to do a blog thing, which I can't see myself doing a blog because I hate writing that much. But, so yeah, so I signed up as a distributor. Now, the kicker is I did not sign up with my friend. I signed up with Jessica. In my head, I said, if I'm going to do this and things do take off, I want to make sure that I sign up with somebody that's a total, like, rock star in it already. She's a triple diamond, makes psycho amount of money. She's great at it. I knew she had tips and training that wasn't offered on I can't even talk. No other team had her tips and training and directions and all of that. Like, they're very unique, which is still to this day. But, so I signed up with her. She's a worldwide top enroller, like, for both customers and distributors. Like, she is a mass recruiter. And so I made a professional, not personal decision to sign up with her. I felt awful that I didn't sign up with my friend, but I knew that I wanted to change my life. So fast forward, and the business kit gets to my house. I make my husband try one with me, and it was just so funny because for him, he's like, this didn't work. And then I showed him his before and after, and he's like, oh, because he had lost like inches. For me, I was in such a shock because these wraps worked beyond expectations. You often will see me post with my before and after, and that's just after 2 wraps. A treatment is considered a box. Most people do a challenge, which is 12 wraps. So 2 wraps, and I had, oh my gosh, so many inches lost. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, where have you been my whole life? And I couldn't stop smiling because my stomach looked so much better. And that's when the potential was there. Because then, what happens when you're excited about something? Like, you want to just, like, tell everybody about it. And that's exactly what I did. And I ended up making, like, a $500 cash bonus. Like, I mean, and I am, like, a total, like, introvert, shy person. Like, I didn't have very many friends at the time. And I kicked butt. And it was crazy. And I keep thinking, like, if I can do this, anybody can do this, because I'm so darn shy. I only started with, like, 50 Facebook friends. And it has just been crazy ever since. Like, there's 8 levels. I've hit 4 of them. I retired my husband from his normal job. I'm going to retire myself. I won a $5,000 bonus also. Won a free Bahamas cruise for the both of us. And it's just been freaking awesome. I'm just so excited that I had a distraction from the craziness that my life had already had, and that I finally found my passion in life, and it's just been amazing. So I just wanted to share with you guys, like, how it all started and all of that. So anyways, thanks for sticking with me, and be on the lookout for more things to happen.